Hi there. How can I help you? Yeah, sure. I can give you some recommendations. Do you have a library card? Mm-hmm. Okay. Would you like to sign up for one? Perfect. That way you can check out as many books as you want to, and then you can just take them home with you for, I think, about, yeah, up to 6 months for most books, and then return them when you're done. Great, so we should get you set up for that library card then. Okay, I will just have to write down a few pieces of information. So, would you please tell me what your first name is? Okay. Thank you. And can I get your last name, please? Mm-hmm. Perfect. And what is your zip code? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. Absolutely. And do you have any library cards with any other libraries in the area? Okay. Sure. So no. Perfect. And what brings you to the library today? Wonderful. Perfect. The library is a very good tool, not just for books, You can you can read newspapers, you can listen to music, you can rent movies. We have all sorts of different kinds of activities that are planned, like for learning. We have activities for children. There's a lot that you can do with this library card for free. Perfect. Okay. And on average, about how many books are you intending on checking out per month? Mm-hmm. Okay. Perfect. And are you interested in using any of the other library resources, like renting movies or listening to music or getting involved with any of our weekend activities? Perfect. Okay. Can I please grab your email address? Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So, on this first floor here is most of our nonfiction and fiction books. Upstairs, you're gonna find more lifestyle books, like recipe books, like cookbooks, or his more historical types of books are also up there, as well as more reference materials is what you're going to find in that area. Okay, so I'm going to enter all of this information into the computer real fast, so please just give me a moment so I can get you your card. So I'm just going to enter that right in here. Mm-hmm. How's your day going? That's nice. Yeah, I've been here at the library for about 4 years now, and I love it. Everybody's just so kind, and I love being able to discover new worlds in books, and it's truly just such a relaxing place to be, a good place to retreat to. It's nice that work allows me that kind of peace. Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Okay. And there are just some different types of things that might require you to enter your own PIN code. Would you like to please give me a 4-digit PIN that you can remember? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then the PIN was perfect. Okay. Thank you. We do also have a cafe attached to us in case you are an avid drinker of coffee or tea. Unfortunately, you cannot take the drinks with you into the library itself, but I would highly recommend the scones. Okay. Alright, so I will just give you this card. This will be your library card whenever you want to check out a book, or want to check out a movie or a CD, or want to become involved with any of our activities. We will just be scanning your card, okay? And the PIN code that you've chosen is on the back in case you forget, so I'll just give that to you. There you go. Okay. Is there anything else I can help you with today? Oh, you'd like some book recommendations? Absolutely. Let me just finish this thought. And so, are there any particular types of books that you're interested in? You want to explore a big... Yeah, okay. Absolutely. Well, I can give you a few suggestions that I personally enjoy from a wide range of genres if you'd like. Okay. Well, this one is one that I just finished very recently. It's a very light, fun read if you are interested in fantasy books at all. This is Legends and Lattes. Let's see. Altogether, I believe it is about 294 pages, so not too long. Let's see, I can read you the back and see if this interests you at all. After a lifetime of bounties and bloodshed, Viv is hanging up her sword for the last time. The battle-weary orc aims to start fresh, opening the first ever coffee shop in the city of Thun. But rivals, old and new, stand in the way of success, not to mention the fact that no one has the faintest idea what coffee actually is. If Viv wants to put the blade behind her and make her plans a reality, she won't be able to go it alone. But the true rewards of the uncharted path are the travelers you meet along the way, and whether drawn together by ancient magic, a flaky pastry, or a freshly brewed cup, they may become partners, family, and something deeper than she ever could have dreamed. It's a very fun, light little read. I would highly recommend it if you don't want something too heavy. So, this is a great fantasy read if that's something that you're interested in. Let's see. This was a national bestseller. This is a fiction novel called Hamnet, and it is based on the family life of William Shakespeare. Because one of William Shakespeare's sons' names was Hamnet. So it is a fiction story based on non-fiction characters and what life might have been like for them in this time of before Shakespeare was a very famous man. It's a very, very interesting story, and definitely delves more into what life was like for different types of people in that time, like especially the burden of women. It is truly a remarkable book. I had a very hard time putting it down. Let's see. This is by Maggie O'Farrell. I will say there is a little bit of death in this book, so if that's not something you want to read, I understand. Let me read to you the synopsis. England, 1580. The Black Death creeps across the land. an ever-present threat infecting the healthy, the sick, the old, and the young alike. The end of days is near, but life always goes on. A young Latin tutor, penniless and bullied by a violent father, falls in love with an extraordinary, eccentric young woman. Agnes is a wild creature who walks her family's land with a falcon on her glove, and is known throughout the countryside for her unusual gifts as a healer, understanding plants and potions better than she does people. Once she settles with her husband on Henley Street in Stratford-upon-Avon, she becomes a fiercely protective mother and a steadfast force in the life of her young husband, whose career on the London stage is just taking off when his beloved young son succumbs to sudden fever. A luminous portrait of a marriage, a shattering evocation of a family ravaged by grief and loss, and a tender and unforgettable reimagining of a boy whose life has been all but forgotten, and whose name was given to one of the most celebrated plays of all time. Hamnet is mesmerizing, seductive, impossible to put down, a magnificent leap forward from one of our most gifted novelists. It's a very nice book, and I love the way that this hard copy has these thick edges that make it feel more rich and also old, like a book from the time. It's a very nice touch. Such a wonderful book. Highly recommend reading it. So I'll leave this here with you as well. As you might be able to see, this book is very well loved. This is one of my all-time favorite books. It is by Ian S. Thomas. By Ian S. Thomas. And it is called How to Be Happy, not a self-help book. Seriously. Old and new, common and rare stories, prose, and poems by Ian S. Thomas. And I think this is a very wonderful book for somebody who might need a little extra comfort, a little extra look into the brain of someone else to feel less alone. This is not a self-help book, but a look into someone's life, and also a good way to come back down to the ground when you're feeling a little too far out of it. And I shall read the back of it, and then maybe a couple of my favorite passages from it. This says, Central Avenue Publishing is proud to publish another book by widely acclaimed poet Ian S. Thomas. As many have noted on various social media platforms, there have been some issues that have led to the delayed release of this book. For this, we apologize, and hopefully the content of the book will clarify the circumstances surrounding this delay. We feel we should also point out that this is not technically a self-help book, but it does contain some poignant prose, poetry, and stories which may or may not lead to your happiness. Mostly, it is the rather unfortunate chronicle of a man's attempt to write the book he's promised his publisher, no matter the cost to his self-esteem. So, as you can see, it also has some illustrations involved, and it goes through dealing with loss, feeling lost, feeling happy, the societal pressures through fun and interesting prose and poems written by Ian Thomas. I shall read to you one of the first pages of this book, or at least a part, to see if it's interesting to you. Don't feel like a feather drifting out of control on someone else's breath. Although, if you think of yourself as a feather or believe that feeling like a feather could be a good thing, then that's cool. Go with that. Maybe go skydiving. There is no pressure to become who you are at any specific point in your life. You are you. You are who you are. You do not become you one day in the future. You are always you, with everything you do. Do not sacrifice the person you are today for the person you could be tomorrow. There's only ever now. A passage that I really enjoy. Sadness is a way for the person deep down inside you to take care of you, the person desperately trying to keep you alive despite everything. They reach out from the dark inside you and pinch your heart between their fingers so that you'll stop whatever you're doing and look around you and wonder why your heart feels so very, very sore. I'm sorry for all the self-awareness and the fact that a book about being happy isn't actually very happy. I really am, especially considering I said earlier on to watch out for irony, which is a killer. I'm honestly not trying to be ironic. I'm never even really sure what the word means beyond the Alanis Morissette song, although the example she uses seem to be more tragic than anything else. There are a lot of fun, serious topics inside this book, but it is definitely worth a read if you are interested in this type of writing. So I would highly recommend it if you so choose. Yes, I can recommend a few more. This is a very good one. This is a very good book. This book is called Almond. Almond. And it is by the author Won Byung-sun. They are a South Korean author. This book is translated, of course, from Korean into English, and it is a beautiful and entertaining story about a boy who was born with a brain condition called alexithymia, which makes it hard for him to feel emotions like fear or anger. Let me read you the back of this book. Yoon-jae was born with a brain condition called alexithymia that makes it hard for him to feel emotions like fear or anger. He does not have friends, but his devoted mother and his grandmother provide him with a safe and contented life. But everything changes when a shocking act of random violence shatters his world, leaving him alone and on his own. Struggling to cope with his loss, Yoon-jae retreats into silent isolation until troubled teenager Gon arrives at school. The two of them form a surprising bond, and when Gon suddenly finds his life at risk, Yoon-jae will have to step outside of every comfort zone he has created to perhaps become the hero of his own story. There are a lot of fun twists and turns in this book that you would not expect, and it is exciting and relatable and very well written, and I would highly recommend this book so far, this one most of all out of all of them, because I think a lot of different people would enjoy this book. So this might be a good place to start if you're not sure what genre you'd like to try. Yeah, I will put this right next to you. If you're interested in making your inner child feel loved, I would highly recommend another very loved book called The Last of the Really Great Whangdoodles. This book is extra special because it was written by none other than Julie Andrews, or Julie Andrews Edwards, the actress. And it is such a fun, whimsical story of some children who are bored in their 1800s-esque time, and they find a scientist who says that they can travel to another world, the world of Whangdoodles. And it is incredibly exciting and, like I said, whimsical. And there are so many fun characters. It's very much like a little dream. I will read to you the back. Ben, Tom, and Lindy Potter have never even heard of a Whangdoodle until they meet the brilliant Professor Savant at the zoo. He tells them all about the wise and magical creatures who disappear to another land because people stopped believing in them. And when the professor invites them on a quest to find the last of the really great Whangdoodles, they can't resist. The way to Whangdoodle Land isn't easy. The children must learn to see things in a completely different way. When at last they succeed, they encounter wondrous creatures like the wiffle bird, the swamp gaboons, and the high-behind splinter cat. But it seems they'll never find the elusive Whangdoodle, especially since the oily Brock, the sinister Prime Minister of Whangdoodle Land, is determined to stop them in any way they can. This is such a fun story, and I would highly recommend it to any adult with a need to fill their inner child, or even as a bedtime story for a young one. And I think it works well with all ages. I like that we do have this book at this library, because I think it would be a hard one to find anywhere else. I don't see it many places very often anymore. And it really is a very good book, and one that I've known for a very long time. So I will leave this one here as well. Just one more here. This one is the most recent book that I've read, and it is a wonderful one. This book is called The Dictionary of Lost Words. Have you heard of it? No? That's okay. This book is a very interesting and fun dive into not only what life must have been like in the 1800s for young women, but most importantly, how important words are to us as a society. And this story is about a young girl whose father, and so she, is involved with the creation of the first Oxford Dictionary. And she starts collecting words that they might not add to the dictionary because they are words that have been deemed inappropriate or unimportant, but mostly having to do with women that did not make it into the Oxford Dictionary. There's a lot more to it, and it is a very roller coaster of a ride, but it touches very much on the lives of women in this time, especially closer to World War I, and how much it is important that their experiences were documented just as much as the rich pen. I will read to you the overview. Esme is born into a world of words. Motherless and irrepressibly curious, she spends her childhood in the scriptorium, an Oxford garden shed in which her father and a team of dedicated lexicographers are collecting words for the very first Oxford English Dictionary. Young Esme's place is beneath the sorting table, unseen and unheard. One day, a slip of paper containing the word bondmaid flutters beneath the table. She rescues the slip, and learning that the word means slave girl, begins to collect other words that have been discarded or neglected by the dictionary men. As she grows up, Esme realizes that the words and meanings related to women's and common folks' experiences often go unrecorded, and so she begins in earnest to search out words for her own dictionary, the Dictionary of Lost Words. To do so, she must leave the sheltered world of the university and venture out to meet the people whose words will fill those pages. Set during the height of the women's suffrage movement and with the Great War looming, the Dictionary of Lost Words reveal a lost narrative hidden between the lines of history written by men. Inspired by her love of words, author Pip Williams has delved into the archives of the Oxford Dictionary to tell the highly original story. The Dictionary of Lost Words is a delightful, lyrical, and deeply thought-provoking celebration of words and the power of language to shape the world. This is a lovely book, and I would highly recommend it. Once again, it does have some darker turns there, so if you're not interested in that type of a story, then perhaps this isn't for you. But I love this book very much. I believe it is, let's see, how many pages is it? It is about 400 pages. Did any of those books seem good to you? Did you want to check any of them out? Okay, we can do that. Those are some good choices. So you wanted Almond? Okay, I'll just go ahead and scan that here. And if you wouldn't mind just scanning your card right there for me. Thank you. Put that in here. So you can have this book for up to 3 months. And then once you are done, just come back and return it either in person or in our book return receptacle outside. And then you said you wanted to try... Okay, yeah, absolutely. Just something a little bit light as well. Okay. Legends and Lattes. A very fun book. Just make sure there are no bookmarks in here. Okay, I think we're all good. Perfect. And this one you can have for 6 months. Okay. Here we go. You are all set. And we do not have our regular bookmarks available, but we do have stickers. So you are more than welcome to take one of these to use as a bookmark there. And let me just make sure I have everything from you. I know we just gave you that card. Okay. Okay. Well, I think that's everything that I need from you. Go ahead and enjoy those books, and I will see you next time you decide to come to the library. Thanks for stopping by.